Hello, brothers and sisters. This is Lena, and I wanted to share a dream that I had. I am not really good at this. I am usually the YouTube watcher, not the YouTube poster. I am like Moses. My speech is not the best. I've never had good communication skills, but the Lord impressed upon me a dream about hell that I feel I need to share because I have prayed for God to use me and to give me the opportunity to witness. And with this dream, I feel that I need to share it because it wasn't an ordinary dream. I kind of feel uncomfortable about calling it a dream because it was very real, very vivid, and I can remember it in full detail. With most dreams, you cannot. They become a figment of your imagination, but this one I still remember because it had a lasting impact, and it still has a lasting impact. But about the dream, it started out in a building, a tall building with many floors. I could tell it was many floors. I was up high, and it was in a very spooky part of town. This building was, and I'm inside this building and down this hallway, and I know I am in the worst part of town possible because it feels that way, and also it feels very evil and demonic. I would say creepy, but no, there's a sure sense of demonic energy within this building. And I'm in the hallway, and I'm in front of a window. The best way I can describe this window is, if you watch Law and Order, you know they have the interrogation rooms, and you have the characters standing outside the interrogation room looking inside that window. That on the inside no one can really see anybody on the outside, but on the outside you can look in. That's kind of what it was. I was in front of this window looking inside a room, and there was like a little black light, like there usually is on the episodes, a little hanging light above the table and chairs, and it was the exact hanging light, the only light in the room shining, and the room was pitch black inside with the little dangling light fixture above it. But there was a slab, and on this slab was the dead body of Whitney Houston. She had OD'd on drugs, and she was dead. She was very dead, lying very horrifically on this slab. And a side note, I know the overall knowledge is she OD'd, she drowned in her tub, but I know there are also stories that she was murdered and she was beaten, and it has nothing to do with neither here nor there. I just want to make that known that I am aware of that. But in my dream, she had OD'd on drugs and was very dead. Now, to me, I was like, this is nothing new. She's been dead for quite a while, and I didn't really think anything of it. It didn't faze me. For some reason, I looked this way because I'm out in the hallway, and I looked down the hall, and all of a sudden my cousin appears up, and she's looking inside the room through the window, and she just dashes right in the room. Now, all the while my head is turning towards the direction she's dashing, which is going in the room, I look back in the room, and Whitney Houston's dead body is gone. It's now my mother lying in her place, dead as a doornail, and a doorknob. Sorry. But anyway, she's dead. She's OD'd, and lying right alongside her is my 5-year-old daughter, who has also OD'd. My mother gave my daughter drugs, and they both died. They both OD'd, and it was the most horrific sight and image you could ever, as a parent, ever see. My 5-year-old is dead of drugs. She OD'd on drugs. So I'm in shock, to say the least. I'm like, I probably thought what was Whitney Houston for like a millisecond before the sight of my dead daughter took over. And my cousin was in the room. She didn't really pay any attention to my mom. She was all focused on my daughter, and she kept examining her, and she trying to figure out, without even touching her, just looking her over, and she said, I think she's still alive. And that kind of got me out of my shock on the outside, out in the hallway. And I started to dash inside the room. When I got in there, my cousin had vanished. She was not in there, but I immediately went and grabbed my daughter up. Now, when I grabbed my daughter up, the presence of sheer darkness and evil consumed my body. I mean, it was like, I can describe it as, when you're out on the beach and there's like a 6, 7, 8 foot wave that's about to come and engulf you. That's kind of what it was like for me with the presence of fear. It kind of engulfs me like a wave, but it didn't crash down like a wave does on the beach. It just stayed over me and hovered over me. And everywhere I went, it went. It just engulfed my whole body. And I ran out the room, got so far as the hallway, and then I stopped. Because the presence of this evil was crippling. It was very, I can't even explain it because it's not of this world. I could say horrific, terrifying, and I could use any English American vocabulary, but there is no vocabulary that can give this presence of evil and darkness justice. I cannot. It's a fear and a darkness and an evil out of this world, out of our realm, out of our comprehension. So I could not even use a word in this world that we know of in the English vocabulary to actually give it justice. And this evil presence that was over me was very powerful, and it felt very demonic and dark. And I'm using words that are not really even giving it justice, because I don't know. I wish I could say a word that could tell you exactly what I'm talking about as far as this presence of evil, but I cannot. I can use terrifying, horrifying, and all that, but it makes those words, fail to comparison. I'm holding my baby while I am consumed with fear and evil, not fear, but darkness and evil all around me. And while I'm holding my baby, her lower back, it's swelling. There's a big bump that's forming. I mean, she's decaying at a grotesque rate as I'm holding her, and all of a sudden this big mass that forms into a bubble on her back, it explodes, and then I feel like her lower waist is now deflating, like a balloon deflating, like it has rotted away, and it has blew up and has rotted away her lower waist, and there's nothing there. It has deflated to nothingness while I'm still holding her. And not even that, not even the fact that she has OD. My mother has killed her. She's dead in my arms, and the lower waist of her body is now a mushness. It doesn't even phase or affect me, because the presence of this evil and this darkness that's all around me is greater by far than that. I am more crippled and handicapped to this presence of evil and darkness than I am the fact that my daughter is dead, OD'd, and probably doesn't have a lower waist. And I can't really even move, because the evil and darkness is telling me it is hopeless. There's no need for you to do anything, go anywhere, think anything. It's hopelessness. So I can't move, because if I move an inch, the evil and darkness is going to intensify and make the feeling of total dread and fear and horror even worse upon me. I mean, it is In this life, we know darkness. We can, go into a room, close the door with the lights out and run dark and ooh, it's scary. Or we can go to a haunted house and get scared beyond our wits. This is nothing. This life is the life that we live, and the tragic that we go through is nothing compared to the evil and darkness that was over me. I don't mean to be graphic, and I don't mean to be, blunt, but if you're a parent and you have a 3-year-old, you could actually, well, not you literally, but your kid could get decapitated. Someone could decapitate your child's head off right in front of you. And as a parent, you think you would be beyond horrified, mortified, the trauma alone. But I'm telling you, even seeing that, if you're a 3-year-old, 5-year-old, if somebody decapitated your child, it would not even phase you in the realm that I was in this evil and darkness. This evil that was upon me is telling me that I am greater and bigger and better than life's little tragedies. And it is to the 120th power, which I don't even know if that even exists, but it's the evil not of this world. I mean, life has its tragedies, but there is something beyond it that is 100 times worse than the life we live. I mean, as a mother holding my baby, she's OD'd, I couldn't even be fazed by it. I could not. There was such sense of evil and darkness and hopelessness to the full degree. It was. And I felt there was not a time within it. I'm like, this is never going away. My only bet is for it to not get worse or intensify the presence of this evil. It is never ending, and it is sheer hopelessness across the board. And before I woke, a voice said to me, "This is hell." And I woke up just like that. And I woke up in bed for 5 minutes, still in the presence of evil and darkness all around me. I mean, I thought that night was the night I was going to see Jesus. I thought, I'm going to see Jesus before the rapture, because he's going to come and save me. He's going to come and get me out of this feeling of evil and darkness. I'm going to see him. 5 minutes I called out for Jesus. And he never came. Of course, he was always there. He was there. But he allowed me to go through it. And I was terrified when I woke up. I was so extremely terrified when I woke up. I mean, for 5 minutes, I was calling out. I was glorifying him. I was thanking him. I was asking for forgiveness. I said a lot of mumbo jumbo in worship to God, because I knew if I just called out on him, he would come and save me from this evil and presence, from this evil presence that was all over me. And of course, then again, it's like 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm really tired. I want to go back to sleep, but I'm not trying to go back to sleep. I don't need a sequel to that. But eventually, I went back to sleep. I actually did have another nightmare that I can't think of. So that's why it's neither here nor there. Wake up, go to work, because I work for the post office. A mailman. I always have to say woman. But the whole entire day, I felt something bad was going to happen. Like, very, very strongly. I couldn't shake it. And I'm not the person, because I'm Christian. I don't stress. I give that to the Lord. But for some reason, I couldn't shake this feeling that something that's bad is going to happen to me. Like, any moment. I don't know if I'm going to die. I'm going to wreck. Someone's going to, run into me. Something bad is going to happen. And it's getting to the point where I am losing breath. I can't breathe. I'm starting to, and it took me a while to realize after I called my husband and told him what was going on, because I haven't told him the dream I had, last night. And it took me a while to realize that I could possibly be having a panic attack. Panic attacks are not my bag. I don't have panic attacks. So I didn't really recognize it. But, he's familiar with them. It's a genetic thing in his family. So he's like, I think you having a panic attack. And I'm like, I don't know. Am I having a panic attack? Because he had called earlier and he had said something on the lines that he forgot to pay a bill. And I'm like, well, then maybe that's what I'm tripping on. But it's a telephone bill. I got my cell phone. It cuts off. But it was, and then he called and we had a conversation about our kids. Something, was going on there. But it wasn't that, bad to where I should be really tripping, I all day, and I run my route for like 4 to 5.5 hours. So it was bad. I was thinking any moment I'm about to die. Something terrible is going to happen to me. Something really, really bad. And I couldn't shake it. And I was praying constantly, but nothing was helping me. And it got to the point where I called my husband, because I wasn't going to the doctor. I had made my mind up that I needed to go to church. And I called my husband. I was like, I'm going to church after work. I'm going to have the pastor meet me there if he can't get there, because I know my husband's like, well, what if the pastor can't see you at your church? I'm like, I don't care if he's in Damascus, wherever Damascus is on this map that I'm about to also go look for. I'm going to be there. Wherever he is, I'm going to go seek him out. And I get off of work, still having a panic attack, still thinking something horrible is going to happen at any moment. Never been through that before. So I called my pastor on the way to church, because I'm not headed home. I'm on my way to church. And I was like, I need to see you right now. Can you meet me at church? And luckily, thankfully, he was like, I'm on my way there right now. He was like, I can meet you. And I was like, good. So when I got to church, I was a mess, a wreck, a worrywart. I was, it was not a good day that day. But I got to, my pastor. I told him about my dream. He could see I was a shaky mess, I'm sure. He gave me his feedback of it, and we got together and prayed, and I embraced him so tight when we prayed together. And he prayed with me, and the moment I released myself from his embrace, my anxiety was gone like that. I mean, the feeling of something bad is going to happen, the nerves, the loss of breath, it was gone in an instant. Jesus took it away. It was like it never happened. I walked into church a trembling mess, thinking I'm about to die at any moment. I was thinking maybe something in the church is going to kill me. I walked out that door like none of those nerves ever existed throughout the whole day. It was completely amazing. And I give Jesus the honor and the glory, because he is so awesome and he is so amazing. But I think I went through that experience in regards to the dream I prefer, to get the sense of heaven than hell. But okay, Jesus, I'll take it. But I think that experience was put on me to share that hell is very real and it exists. And I know we all might have different interpretations or comprehensions of hell, but from my experience, it is nothing that we can comprehend. It is far worse. It's far worse. You probably think a person can go to hell or going to be dipped in a fire. No, hell is deep on the worst imaginable level you can think of. And I didn't dream visually of a hell. I didn't see no chains and dungeons and people torturing other people. I felt the presence, the feeling of what people go through in hell, and the sheer hopelessness of it all. I mean, there is no comprehension. And you probably trying to relate mentally and comprehend everything I'm telling you, but you just will never. You will never know the grimness of hell. It's very real. It's beyond comprehension. I mean, tragedy and tragic that we face and that we go through is nothing on this earth. Hell is the grandfather, the master, the big dog of pain, tragedy, hurt, hopelessness. It is. I mean, I probably could face some fears now on this earth, because I know what I've experienced in that dream is like makes fears on this earth, a walk in the park. Hell is very real. And I beg and urge of you to seek God and repent of your ways and turn to God, because hell is not the alternative you want. It's not the acceptance you should be accepting. The cool people are not in hell. They're being tortured brutally, wishing they was in your position and wish they could have done it differently. I ask and I beg of you to seek Jesus. And if you think I am a loony Christian, then I ask you to just indulge me. Just take time out of your time and just talk to God. Explain to him how things that what's in your heart, how you feel, your doubts even, because he knows everything about you. Be real and honest and ask him to reveal himself. Challenge him to do that, because I have no doubt that he will. If you seek him wholeheartedly, he will come, because that's what he wants from all of us. And I ask you to seek Jesus before it is too late, because hell is not where you want to be. It is not. And I pray that you will never go there, because it is beyond everybody's comprehension of what they think they know about hell. Please seek Jesus. Please seek him. Get out of your pride, get out of your stubbornness ways, and find Jesus. Talk to him. Indulge him. At best, he will give you an answer. He will reveal himself to you. At worst, you just talk to yourself. And I'm sure that's probably never happened before ever in your life. At worst, you could just be talking to yourself. But I believe if you wholeheartedly pray to Jesus, talk to him, seek him out, say, Lord, reveal yourself to me, show yourself to me, because I don't believe any of this. And he will, if you will open the door wholeheartedly, because he put that dream upon me to tell you that hell is real and it exists. And if you keep on rejecting him, you keep on denying him, you keep on doing things your way, that is where you're going. And take it from me, you do not want to go there. Y'all be blessed. Stay encouraged. Seek Jesus. Bye-bye.